Well, all right. For today's episode, we're sitting down with a business I've had some time to visit and get to know and love these guys. We're at Smokeneck Farm Garden today down in Southside. And so this is a business that you absolutely need to know. George here is going to help me tell you why.
2.5 years ago, my wife and I were looking for something to do to supplement our income when we retired. And we just decided to do a little farm and garden store, a little general store, just something just to bring to the community and just to have fun with it, and just, let folks come in and just, shop local and just sit around a table.
That's what it's about. I grew up out in North Gadsden, and so we had 411 Feed and Seed back in those days, and that was it. That was where I needed to go to get knowledge, because I don't know a lot about gardening. I should know more than what I do, but anything that I had going on in the yard, if I wanted to put something on the ground or anything like that, anything to do with anything agricultural, I didn't have to know it, but I knew they knew it, and I knew where to go from it. Over the years, we've lost those kind of stores, and we don't really have those in the county. There's still a couple of them around, but what sets yours apart is you don't come here just for feed. You've got tons of other stuff, as you can see from what we got on the table. So tell us a little bit about what you got. Well,
when we first started, when we first opened up, we knew we couldn't compete with the big box stores. So we had to do something a little different, a little unique, that sets us apart from everybody else. So one of the things we did was we brought in the Amish foods.
Yes.
And
pickled okra is
pickled okra, jams, jellies, pickles, salsa. It all comes out of Millersburg, Ohio.
Okay.
And we get a truck that comes in most every Friday. We have a lot of other things too. We have the Amish snacks, the fried okra.
Which is good, by the way.
Which is really good. It's our best seller. We probably sell 120 bags a week. Mm-hmm. And it's our best seller. It's a great snack, and it's addicting.
I'm telling you, that's better than tater chips right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we do the animal feeds and what have you. We have it too. We have dog food. We carry Victor and Extreme, 2 premium dog foods. We have fertilizer. We have potting soils, garden soils. Deer corn, we have a bunch of hunting stuff.
Because I was about to say, you're one of the best places, because we used to have good local stores that sold hunting stuff. That's one thing that's nice here. The more I go to the big box store here in town looking for something, anything related to that, they just have less and less. Everything's picked over and they don't get it in.
Well, we've got feeders, we got cameras, we got deer corn, we have triple grip corn. Which is corn, soybeans, roasted peanuts, and they toss it in the peanut butter powder. It's amazing. We have all kinds of attractants. Yes, you can go to Academy and get it, but you're not going to get the local business that help the local businesses.
Well, they can't tell you how to use it.
Well, I don't go to Academy, so I don't know.
I don't know unless I have to. A couple of times I got to go in there for 1 or 2 things, but the thing that's missing with them is the customer service. They might have the product. I can look online and I can read a bunch of articles and I can say, well, I think this product's going to work the best, but that's no replacement for going and talking to somebody that's done it before.
Well, we've been fortunate because when I opened this business up, one of the things we stressed was customer service. People can go spend their money wherever they want to spend it. Mm-hmm. And we want folks to spend their money with us, of course, but that's not the important thing. With us, it's developing that relationship and treating people like family. When people come in our door, we want them to feel like, this is home. Exactly. We don't want this to be, dreading they have to go shopping. We want this to be an experience. When they leave here, they say, man, I love it. I love going there. And so we're going to treat you like family. And if you ask me a question or my wife a question and we don't know the answer, Google will fix it up.
Yes, sir.
And but we're learning a lot about different products, how they work. I was in
because that's what people used to do.
Yeah, and I had worked in a terminal builder mart for several years.
Okay.
So I've got some knowledge about gardening stuff and that sort of stuff, but I'm still learning stuff. But the best part is I have a lot of men that come here and sit, and if I don't know it, there's a wealth of knowledge that comes in here every day and sits around this table.
There is. Just before we started filming, a gentleman come in, and the things you learn, you get that depth of knowledge that, a lot of times that's passed down orally, but you got to continue that tradition on.
Absolutely. We want this to be like the old time barber shops where people come and sit around a table. We've got coffee in the coffee pot all the time.
Yes, we do.
We got snacks we put out on the table. we would just assume folks come in here and just sit around the table if they've got nothing else to do. It's just, we just want it to be a comfortable place to come. And there's so many people, especially our older citizens, that are sitting at home with nothing to do. And we want this to be a place that they can come and just hang out for a while. As we say, come sit a spell.
Yes, we're sitting here in Wild Bill's Corner, and you were sharing some of the stories about Wild Bill, the local legend, and it's amazing to see. And you're right, we all grew up watching Mayberry, Andy Griffith Show, and Floyd's Barber Shop. You want to find that, or if you discover that show later in life, if you're younger and see that and you go, I want somewhere like that. Well, this is that place.
Well, we like I said, you can spend your money anywhere, and we don't want you just coming here for your money, because that's not what we're about. We're more about you coming through that door. And we want to give you an experience of how it used to be back in the old days. And when you come in, we don't want you rushing out. We're going to talk to you about your family, your kids, your job, your health issues, and if you want somebody to pray for you, we'll pray for you at the counter too.
Yes, and you've even done a drive-through prayer.
We have a drive-through prayer every Tuesday night from 5 to 7 out here in front of the store.
Yes, that's wonderful. Loving on people is really the essence of it. It's what builds that community, is that when you can show love to other people, and you do that with everything that you're doing. So whether they come in through the store or whether they go through the drive-through prayer line, just some of the stuff that you're doing down here is incredible, like bringing in the food trucks.
Well, we've been bringing in food trucks for over a year now.
Yes, sir.
And it helps us and it helps them.
It does.
And Southside, we don't have a lot of places to eat. We're starting to get a few more, but it's limited as to what we have. So by bringing the food trucks, we're able to bring something different to the community.
Well, when you set up food trucks, it's like a buffet.
It is.
That's what I like about it. It's good food. You can go around and get a little of this, get a little of that. Of course, I do okay in the food department.
Yeah, me too.
But it's like a buffet, and you're right. These guys are local. The more we figure out how to support them, that's the better to me.
Well, it just it gives you more of a variety, and of course, when you bring the food trucks into Southside, it brings people into Southside, and now they're spending money, here at the local service stations, or just some of the other shops.
Exactly,
and,
it's a great thing going.
Yes, and it doesn't take much.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Just to make somebody's day, to change somebody's life, it really takes far less effort than you would think.
Yeah, and it's just just be nice.
That's all it takes.
Just be nice.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about Wild Bill and the local legend? Why this is Wild Bill's Corner?
Well, when I opened up, it's like I was telling you, there's so many senior citizens that we have that are sitting at home, and they're just sitting at home. So when I opened the store up, I knew Bill Smith from church.
Okay.
And I knew that his wife continued to work, but I knew Bill was sitting at home. After he would leave Jack's or McDonald's, he would go home at 8:30, and he would sit there by himself till 2:30, 3 o'clock when she come home. It broke my heart, because he's such a great guy and a local legend. So I created Wild Bill's Corner. He didn't know I was doing it, and I would go get him in the mornings and bring him up here. And like I was telling you earlier, he's a wealth of knowledge as far as the agricultural side. And if I didn't know something, Bill was all over it. He could tell folks that, how to do anything agriculturally. But he just loved people, and people loved him. And it helped me too, because it established me as Bill Smith was here.
Yeah.
And there would be people that would come in just to see Bill, and that was fine with me.
Yeah.
Because it gave me name recognition, and people were coming into my store and they got to see somebody that I love dearly.
Well, it's a meeting place that just happens to be a store.
Yep. And when he passed away in May of 2022 last year, it was tough, and it's been tough, and we still honor him with his wall, and we have pictures all over the wall of the different things, and different times we have pictures of folks that've been all through here, and this will be here, well, as long as I own the store.
Yeah. That's good to have that sense of communication, sense of community where everybody can come in and just be here. We're sitting around the table here in the corner, and that's what it was designed for.
Exactly. It's just a social table. We have games up there, which I got games, but we never play them. We all too busy talking.
That's me. It's I'm a talkative person, kind of, if you haven't figured out by now. But sometimes when I go to a restaurant, I barely remember what I ate because I was more involved in the conversation than I was. The food was just a conduit. One of the earlier episodes that I filmed with Volt Coffee, that's also here in Southside, he said along the same lines. He said, I want to be a meeting place that just happens to serve coffee. Mm-hmm. He said, it's not as much about the coffee as it is about the talking, the conversation that happens, the business that's happening. We just kind of want to be a conduit and play a part in it. So there's that aspect of it that I think we need more of. I think we need more of that community.
Well, as you know, and I tell folks, if you want free coffee, come see me. If you want good coffee, go see Volt. Mm-hmm. And that's just, we've all got to help each other and to support one another, especially local businesses. And I think for the most part, we do a good job of helping each other.
I think we do.
Logan and Shelby have been good to us. We've enjoyed working with them.
Yes, they're wonderful people.
And it just, I think local businesses need to support local businesses.
I think so. I agree with that 100%.
And most of all, I think local businesses need to be involved in the community.
I do. I try to do as much as I can to give back, to help people any way that I can. We each have our own capacity for help. I can't do a lot of the same stuff that you're doing, but what I'm supposed to do is use the talents that I have to be able to help people in the way that I can. I'm called to a certain thing, and I firmly believe that.
Well, one of the things that we really take pride in working with is our Southside FFA.
Yes.
Allison Held is doing a tremendous job with those kids. And I met Allison 2 years ago. She was having her mum sale. And I didn't know Allison at the time. And she had posted on Facebook that they were getting close to the end of the fundraiser and that they had, 100 mums or 50 mums or something to still sell to reach their goal.
Right.
And I don't think she was stressing out, but she was, putting out the call that we need to pick things up. So I just sent her a private message and told her that, not to worry about it, that whatever they didn't sell, I would buy to make sure that they reached their goal. And she texted me back about 2 days later and told me they had reached their goal and thanked me for, offering that. It was just a private message between me and her. And I told her, I said, well, come by the store. I want to give you some money anyway.
Okay.
So she came by the store and I gave her a couple $100 for a pizza party for the FFA. Well, at the time, I thought like most FFAs, they probably had 20 or 30 students. So they had their meeting, and then about a week later she came by and she brought me that card over there, thank you card.
Okay.
And there were just like 100 names on it.
Wow.
And I said, how many students do you have in your chapter? She said, 150. I said, good grief. I said, I didn't give you enough money for pizza. And she started laughing. She said, well, they don't all come at one time. She said, so there was plenty. But I say that most chapters, like I said, only have 20 or 30 people in their chapter. I talked to her a few days ago. They've got 160 this year.
Wow.
And she's just doing tremendous things with the FFA. And that's where I'm sending a lot of my sponsorships and donations to.
Right.
For several reasons. One, those are the kids that are my future as far as a business.
Yeah.
And
they're your community of tomorrow.
Absolutely. And two, the FFA and a lot of these other clubs and stuff don't get the donations and support that like the athletics get.
True.
And I don't think the athletics is going to miss my little bit of money as so much as it will benefit the FFA.
It makes a small difference in one, it makes a huge difference in another.
And
the better we take care of our kids, let's face it, our community's had a problem for several years that most of the people that I graduated high school with don't live in town. They moved off to other towns. The better we make our community, the more we equip our next generation that's coming up with a way to make a living, and we make a great place for them to come back to, they will come back. We just have to make it advantageous to them.
Yeah.
That's all we have to do.
Absolutely.
So I think one thing that's important about what you're doing is that as time progressed, people realized, hey, I don't have to grow my own stuff because this is the modern age. I can go to the grocery store. I can go buy all the things that I need in some store. Well, COVID kind of changed all of that. We all of a sudden decided, hey, wait a second, I've got all of this time, and there's stuff that I need, stuff that my family uses, but I can't get a hold of anymore. Specifically meat, vegetables, food products, things like that. And so I think you've seen a resurgence that people said, hey, I want to try this gardening thing. I've never had the time to be able to devote to it, but now that I've got time to do that, where do I start? And so one of the conversations we had the other day was about raised garden beds. And so you having that experience, you're like, hey, don't waste your money on this. This is what you need.
Well, so many times people, the raised garden beds are basically so people don't have to bend over to pick their vegetables. So, sometimes they'll start out at 12 inches or 24 inches. So it's important to know how tall a garden raised bed you're going to do. If you're doing a 24-inch raised bed, you don't need 24 inches of soil.
No.
So, I could sell folks 24 inches of soil, but I wouldn't be doing them any justice, and I would feel, morally that wouldn't be right.
Right.
So, I would always tell folks, to put sticks, leaves, whatever, to fill up the bottom half of it anyway, because your roots are only going to go 8-10 inches deep anyway. Right. So just fill in, and then we'll give you a good quality soil. We have the worm castings and the manure and the different, Bacto and the perlite and the vermiculite and all that stuff that, helps your soil to aerate and to be airy. Not to mention the fact that we have all the vegetable plants that, pretty much anything you want to plant, we'll have it here in the spring.
Because you don't have to start from seeds.
You don't have to start from seeds. So it just makes things easier. But, we've got everything you need to plant a garden, and we'll help you get along, and figure out what you need and try to do it the most inexpensive way that we could do it and still give you a good soil.
Yeah, exactly. And I noticed over on the shelf too, you've got stuff for raising chickens, a little bit of livestock stuff.
We can't carry everything.
You can't carry everything.
So we just try to carry the basic necessities. We've got, of course, all the animal feed. We've got chicken feed, goat feed, pig feed, horse feed, dog foods. We got all that. But then we also have stuff like the electrolytes and probiotics for the chickens, or whatever we have, and horse dewormers and dog dewormers and mealworms. Just different things that you may need for your chickens or your dogs or whatever. There's a lot of things that we don't have, right? But we've got the basic necessities that that will get you through a situation where you need something to do something with your animals.
And I think the important part too is that because you are the meeting place, people come in here and they tell you the old thing you missed from the country store was that was the best intel. Like if we were going fishing, you can stop anywhere and get your bait, but we had those couple of places that were on the way to the lake or the river that we would stop, and he asked that all-important question, hey, what's biting today? Because there was somebody that had been there longer than we had that would say, oh yeah, well when I went out fishing yesterday, this bait worked, or they're hitting at this depth, they're doing this. You got valuable information that made you had a better trip just in 5 minutes in the store while you're waiting on somebody to fill up a bucket full of minnows. That knowledge is invaluable. So when your customers come in and tell you, here's what's growing good this year, or here's this hot little tip that I've discovered, then that goes in your knowledge base, and you're more than willing to share that with your customers. So you stay, not only you have you're kind of the news center for the community of Southside, but you're also that hub of here's what works in Southside, here's what doesn't work, and you spread that with your customers.
Well, here's a little bit of information that I got just this week. Deer feeders.
Okay.
A lot of people have the deer feeders, and they have problems with raccoons and squirrels crawling up the poles, spinning the feeders, and knocking out the corn. I hear it every year. Well, I had a gentleman come in, an old friend of mine come in, and he was telling me that you get the carpet tack strips, and you zip tie them to your poles, to your legs, and they can't climb them.
They're kind of like bird spikes, but for squirrels.
Exactly. And I'm thinking, how simple.
Right.
It solves a problem that people have every year.
Because right now is when you're putting out food plots.
Absolutely.
You're working your green fields.
So he said, you just leave a space where you can get the leg off to fill your feeder. He said, but you just put the tack strips on your feeder legs, and it keeps the squirrels and the raccoons from climbing up your poles to the feeder.
That's genius. It's that local knowledge that you're not going to see on the internet. You're not going to see on...
So maybe I need to go to the carpet place and get me a box of tack strips.
Well, you hand that hot little tip out and you say, here's this information, here's the product to help.
Yeah.
I think that's the essence of business.
Yeah.
Really, we're problem solvers.
And, I mean, and by all means, bird feeders. People have bird feeders that,
Squirrels get
put you a couple tack strips on your pole.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. I saw a bird feeder the other day that spins when a squirrel gets on it. It's weight activated, and so when a squirrel puts its weight on it, it slings it off. Squirrels aren't the brightest critters in the world. I've seen them drown in swimming pools before because they would go down and get themselves a drink of chlorinated or salt water. They'd go get a drink of it and fall over off the ladder and drown in the pool.
Well, we're very fortunate that a lot of we get so much knowledge and so much information from our customers, and if you just hang around long enough,
you'll learn something.
You'll learn something, and people, if you have a question, if I don't know it, somebody here will know that answer. And it's back in the old days, when we say listen to your grandparents because you'll learn something.
Oh, I'm telling you.
I get that every day here. I just listen to my customers.
Right. You get to pick your grandparents.
Yeah, I get to, and they're all grandparents to me, and they're all family, and I pick their brains.
And that generation knew more about community and sharing, and so they're more than happy to share knowledge with people. I think we feel like we have to guard all of this stuff, but it's really not. Like your sign says, money and I would say knowledge is like manure. Mm-hmm. It's only good when it's spread around. And so I would agree with that with knowledge, and I think you're doing wonderful steps towards making that true.
Well, and people like to share their knowledge.
They do.
And I enjoy it, they enjoy it, and that's just part of the experience coming to Smokeneck.
It is. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me today and telling me everything that you do here. Why don't you tell everybody where you are and what your hours are?
We are located at 2191 Highway 77 in the south side, across from the old football field, next to Jack's. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 5-ish, and Saturdays from 9 to 2-ish. We say the 2-ish and the 5-ish because we don't necessarily close at 5 or 2. It just depends on if folks are coming in. If folks are here, we're not closing. So, and if you need anything, you can call us at 256-485-1155. And we've been known to set stuff out for you if you can't come in during operating hours, and you can pick it up and we'll work out the details later. And one other thing, we've got the okra we were talking about earlier. We sell a bunch of this, but for the first 6 people that come in and say they saw this interview, we'll give you a free bag of fried okra from it's Amish.
You better come claim it because that's some hot stuff. It's good stuff.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate what you do for all the local businesses here.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right.